Buenos días, buenas tardes, y buenas noches. Bonjour, bonsoir, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you may be. J. Slater case, it is May 21st. And short video, I always say short video, but this one is going to be short. Just wanted to ask a question, throw out a question there. Here's the question. How many times did Lucy call Jay? And how many times did Jay call Lucy in that frenetic exchange of messages and calls and snaps and what have you? We're talking about that Monday morning when Jay Slater disappeared. It's a really simple question. How many times in that morning of activity, hectic contact here, there, and everywhere, how many times did Lucy get, no, specifically, how many times did Lucy call, how many times did Lucy call Jay, and how many times did Jay call Lucy? I bet you right now we have a whole array of different answers in different people's heads out there, whether it be accident group, whether it be foul play group, different answers. As far as I understood it from Lucy's standpoint, she always maintained, if you remember, that she had been woken by a phone call from Jay. That went out in the GoFundMe statement. Woken up by a phone call from Jay. Turned out that she lied. Or if you're of the Dr. Dearden persuasion that, oh, poor child was so distressed she couldn't get the facts right. Yeah, she got Brandon and Jay confused. So she made a mistake. One of several, but she made a mistake. Yeah, she wasn't called by Jay at 8:30 in the morning. Not at all. In fact, I went back into a Daily Mail article and it says specifically at 8:35, Miss Law sent him being Jay, a message telling him to, quote, get back to wherever the F you came from, which was delivered and read. Delivered and read. Clear to me, since the Mail got it totally wrong, and that has happened before, that the 8:35 call that Lucy originally said was Jay to her, waking her up, wasn't even a call from Lucy to Jay. It was a text, a message. Get back to wherever the F you came from. Now, over and over again, whether it be in a interview, back to the camera, what have you, Lucy maintained she said those words to Jay Nicole. She didn't. She didn't. It was a message. She wasn't talking to Jay. So why the lie? You see, people like Adley are out there saying, well, these people often they lie if there's narco involvement in the narco world. They often lie. Yeah, that's true. Then how would a lie about when you spoke to Jay or when you messaged Jay, how is that going to help your standing in the narco world? I don't see how that enters into it. It makes no difference. Oh, I understand in the narco world you might not mention someone's name. If they're involved, you want to keep them out of it. But it doesn't matter which world you live in. Either that 8:35 contact was a message or a call. Why lie about it? Why get it wrong? Why not correct it? So you're going to say, okay, I get where you're going here, Duncan. The point is, Lucy didn't make 2 phone calls to Jay. She only made 1 phone call to Jay, that 20-second one right at the very end there, the last one. That was the only phone call that she made to Jay. Well, here's the problem. Lucy didn't make that call. Apparently that was from Jay to Lucy. Right? Well, I don't know. How can we be sure that was to Lucy? If I go back to the Mail article, it says quite specifically, the last contact was a Snapchat call with a contact called Luce, Luce, in more senses than one, maybe. Hey, Ivor, Yeah, Luce. Luce. At 8:55 a.m. That was the last call. Snapchat call. From Jay's phone? Or was it Jay's phone? I think I'm going to do a subsequent video on how do we define whose phone any phone is in this world. For the sake of argument for now, we'll go with Jay's phone. I will now question from this point on to what extent Jay's phone or phones are really Jay's. Are Jay's phones in Jay's hands? Oh, it might be that it's registered under Jay, that you need Jay's password to get in, but to what extent is a person's phone their phone? I would have thought the answer is depends who's using it. Yeah, so I guess the assumption is Luce, Luce, is Lucy May Law. But the problem is, when we actually looked at the call log shown in the mockumentary, to me it clearly had Lucy May there as one of the callers. It didn't say Luce. Now, maybe Luce is her Snapchat name. I don't know. All I'm saying is be aware that Luce may not be the Lucy we think it is. It could well be. Likely is. But it's not the assumption you really want to go with when you're trying to figure out who had the last words to Jay before he died. It was actually a Snapchat call with a contact called Luce. Okay? How many times in that call log that we saw in the mockumentary, how many times did you see Brandon's name appear? Oh, some of you got your hand up saying, yeah, there was 2 or 3 calls from Brandon. Yeah, I saw Brandon's name there. Brandon. Yeah, he called. Well, I didn't see Brandon. I saw Hodgey. Hodgey. He was there a few times. Hodgey. Are we going to assume that Hodgey must be Brandon? It could be. Probably is. Likely Brandon. Hodgey. Not necessarily. I mean, we know there's a Declan Hodgson, and there's another brother, Dylan Hodgson. Hodgey could well be any one of the above. All of the above. Could be none of the above. Another thing I want to put out today or tomorrow is there are some Hodgsons, Spanish Hodgsons, believe it or not, in Tenerife. A high-powered lawyer, a port authority manager. There's a very nice house called the Hodgson Mansion. You'd be surprised. This last name Hodgson has a Tenerife connection. Hodgey could be any one of those people. Could be. I doubt it. I suspect it's Brandon. All I'm saying is, if you see the word Hodgey, the name Hodgey, and you think that must be Brandon, hold on. Sit tight. Sit tight. Un momento. Maybe, maybe not. If you're out there thinking, well, Luce, L-U-C, that must be Lucy May Law, sit tight. Sit tight. You might have a surprise coming your way. Uh-huh. What about Brad? Is his name clearly Brad in the list? Bradley? Or is it just B? I'll leave this video here because it's a mammoth subject. I'm still working on Inquest Gate, of course, but I wanted to break from Inquest Gate. I just wanted to go back to the building blocks of who spoke to Jay in the final flurry of calls and contacts. We have Hodgey, that might be Brandon. We have Luce, that might be Lucy. But we also need to start considering that these names might not be the actual people you picture that are calling, speaking, messaging Jay. All right, let's leave it there. More later. Hasta luego. Adios. See you next time.